No, he's with his mom this week. Oh, but I hated 7th grade, and I hate my sons in the 7th grade. Oh my God. He's starting to get into those I know everything years, in which a guy stays in those years for about till they're about 28 to 30, somewhere in there. They know every damn thing. And I just have a hard time with that. So me and him kind of lock horns every now and then. All right, so we're going to pull up the handy dandy spreadsheet today. Now, the reason I use the spreadsheet is because I want everybody to master the spreadsheet. No, that's not why. Okay? The reason I use the spreadsheet is because I write all over the board. That's one of the reasons I don't use a whiteboard. Okay? My handwriting is so spontaneous and so big here and little here that I write all over the board. And it's impossible for me to get everything on one whiteboard. Everybody with me? So I use, I didn't say you have to master. I said I use Excel so I can get everything on one board. All right? That's why I use it. Now, if you use it, that's great. If you don't use it, you don't have to use it. I will show you how to do it by hand, which is on the Excel spreadsheet. And then I'll show you how to do everything on your calculator that I think you need to know. All right? So does everybody understand why I use Excel? Because somebody's going to put on the evaluation that I made you use Excel. I didn't know I had to know Excel. I didn't say that. Okay, you got your handy dandy calculator. All right? And some of you that don't want to use your calculator, which is a good thing, do it by hand. When I put it on Excel right up here, that's how you need to do it by hand. Okay, everybody with me? All right. Now, one more thing I need to do, and let's turn on the whiteboard because I need to write down some things. Especially with, there we go. Okay. Now, could you turn that front light off, please? We don't have. Oh yeah, we have notches around here that puts everything up. Oh. All right. So you have two types of data. You have data which I call data-driven, which is what we call test scores, okay? Which you have come up with in the last several years, test scores, like your test scores for your subjects. Okay, that's data-driven. That is 5 test scores, and then you divide by 5, and that's your average. Everybody with me? Okay, so when you use test scores, you get the mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. We'll get to that in just a minute. What are the most important? We're going to do the most important in green. Mean and the standard deviation. What is the second most important? I'll do that in amarillo. See? Median and the mid-range. The least important is the variance and the mode. The range. Well, the range, I'll color it another color. I like that burnt orange, which means kind of important, but we're going to use it, is the range. So the only ones that's not marked is the mode and the variance, and that's really not important. Okay? Now, what's the other type? The other type is a frequency distribution. Frequency distribution. And what did we say a frequency distribution was? It's a table. Okay? And with the table, I'll give you an example. This is your class, and this is your head count. Okay, this is called F, and this is called X. Okay, class 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29. 4, 3, 6, 8. Okay, that is a frequency distribution. Now, all of chapter 2, there's 2 or 3 things we're going to be doing. I'm sorry, chapter 3. There's 2 or 3 things we're going to be doing in chapter 3. These 2 is 1. Okay, we're going to be able to find the mean and the standard deviation of a data-driven table or a data-driven set of data and a frequency distribution. Okay, the only thing I want you to be able to do here is find the mean and the standard deviation. Now, of course, hopefully after you see these 2, you start to see a pattern. What is the 2 most important numbers in statistics? The mean and the standard deviation. All right? When you're dealing with statistics, and I mentioned this last week, what is the most important thing or concept of statistics? Starts with an M. I. D. D. What? Middle. The middle. Everything is compared to the middle. Everything. You got your mean, you've got your median, and you've got your mid-range. And sometimes, you know, depending on your data, and we're going to get into that, your mean, median, and mid-range should be what? If your data is good, they should be close. Okay? If your data is out of wampus, then you're going to see a difference. Now, of course, some of your parents didn't do a good job, so you don't know what out of wampus means. You ever wash clothes and all the towels get on one side of the washer? Some of y'all, do you not wash clothes? Okay, you ever got a wheel out of balance on your car, on the front of your car, and you get up to 35 miles an hour and it starts to wobble? Okay, that's out of wampus, out of balance. Okay? If your data is out of balance, the mean, median, and mid-range is going to tell you. Okay, that's why you look at stuff like this. Now, why do you need to know this? You may go into artsy-fartsy stuff, okay? You may not even ever do this. But will you be presented this material? Yes. I don't care what job you're in, unless it's something really crazy like global studies or something, what is it called? Female gender studies. If you go into one of those type, I don't know if you'll see it, but most of the time in any profession you go into, somebody is going to do an annual report, right? And what's an annual report? It's a synopsis or a summary of what you've done over the last year, your department, your division, your business, your whatever. Okay? Now, what if you own your own business? Well, you better do some kind of report at the end of the year so you know if you're what? Losing money or not. Okay? So this stuff is very basic. This is mostly what you're going to be dealing with in a regular basis. But sometimes you're going to be given this. Okay, so that's number 1. So let's write that Roman numeral 1. Roman numeral 2 is z-scores. And that's the second thing we're going to be going over in chapter 3. Okay? Why do you use z-scores when you're comparing apples to oranges? Most of the time, females to males, or if you're comparing presidents to basketball players, or blah, 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 economics test score to a psychology test score. Okay? Whether it's the same type. Different things, you're comparing the same. So, chapter 3, we're going to be going over 2 things. This, as well as z-scores. And 5-number summary, and the box plot. That's number 3. Which is very simple because you're already doing all that. A lot of people don't know that you're doing the 5-number summary when you're doing all this stuff. Okay? So, with that, let's go ahead and get started and and I'll go ahead and tell you what everything is as we're going over it. So now let's pull up the handy dandy Excel spreadsheet. Now, y'all do have some kind of spreadsheet on your what do you call that thing? My son's got one.
Yeah.
It's on sheets.
And it's called what?
It's Google Sheets.
Whatever. Anyway, so most of these will work on, most of these formulas I'm going to show you will work on there. Now, how do you discern whether you need to ask about formulas? If you know how to work a spreadsheet, then it's okay for you to ask about formulas. I am not instructing you to use a spreadsheet. I have to throw this out because somebody's going to say that, what I told you. He made me use Excel. Whatever. If you don't know how to use Excel, then you just write it in your notebook like you're writing it down, like I'm writing it down on the board up here. That's the difference, okay? So, with that being said, I'm going to make up some numbers up here. And I'm going to use, let's say n is equal to 7. N is equal to 7. That means we got 7 test scores, okay? Let's say we had a bad day, 75. And then we had an 80 and an 82 and a 90 and a 95. Oops, 92, 95. How many is that? That's 3, one more. And a 97. Notice they're in order. Should you put your data in order? Duh. Okay, if you don't know to put your data in order by now, come on. I mean, anytime you're given data, the first thing you do is put it in order. So most of you know that. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Yes, sir? No, go ahead. Go right ahead. You don't have to ask. Y'all are so conditioned. It's sad. You know, by the 12th grade, you know, they should tell you that it doesn't. But anyway, that's why Hubert does not teach K through 12. And that's why when I left Clemson, Mike Sams, was it Hannah? He taught, he was vice principal at Westside when I was coming up at Westside. And Henry Adair was at Westside. They both asked me to teach. I said, hell to the no. Whoa! You'd be surprised. You think it was the students? Nope. I can't deal with the parents, and I can't deal with the administrators. That's why I told them hell to the no. So, as much bad as that sounds, I can't deal with these helicopter parents. That's why I love FERPA. You know what FERPA is, right? That's that dang old freedom of information. Dang old y'all 18, we don't have to talk to anybody about you, except you. That's why I like that. All right. So, with that being said, what do you do first? Well, let's go over here, and let's do mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. Now, I realize that some of you invented these things, okay? I realize that y'all know it all, but I'm not teaching to you, okay? Because I care less about you. The ones I'm teaching to are the ones that suck at it, okay? If you suck at math or you suck at getting these numbers, then I'm going to show you how to do it. Otherwise, shut up, okay? So I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to move this over. How do you find the mean? Well, you add up all the numbers and divide by the number. So I'm just going to be sum of x divided by n. Okay? And I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, do we know what x is? X is each one? No, I'm not going to do that. Because y'all have been doing the average for what, the last 5 or 6 years of your academic career? Oh, what I need to make on the final to get an A out of this class. Y'all already do that, so I'm not worried about it. Median. Median is the middle pertaining to the middle numbers. Okay, what in the world does that mean? Well, the middle numbers dictate what the median is. So what about the first number and the last number? Do they have anything to do with it? No. The median is only calculated by the 2 or 1 middle number. So the first and the last number don't have anything to do with the calculation of the median. Mode, the number that shows up most, I could care less about that. Okay? And it's a freebie on the test. If you get the mode wrong, don't tell anybody, okay? Because that's just hanging a sign around your neck that says, I'm dumb as a post, all right? Don't tell anybody you missed the mode. Oh, yeah, I got that one right. Just lie, okay? Range is the highest minus the what? Highest minus the lowest. Or you could say your max minus what? Min. Mid-range. Mid-range is another one. This is the calculated center using the max and the min. Calculated center, min plus max divided by what? 2. Min plus max divided by 2. Notice you see a number of calculated centers. That's because the middle or the center is the most important. I don't want to say centers are most important, because if I say centers, some of y'all go crazy and say I'm being sacrilegious. Okay? Judgment Day. Anyway, variance. Variance measures how the data varies. Okay? And I'm not going to go into that much. And I'm not going to go into the calculation, because that's the calculation that you have to do by hand. And if you do it on the calculator or the Excel spreadsheet and you don't do it by hand, you really don't get the full understanding of what it is. Same way with the standard deviation. But the good thing about the standard deviation is the square root of the what? So in order to get the standard deviation, you have to calculate the variance. Now, this is a standardized test question, so you need to write it down. The relationship of the variance to the square root. Okay? And you need to write down square root of variance equals SD. And then write down SD to the second power is equal to the variance. That is a standardized test question. You will be asked that question many times. The square root of the variance and the radical of the variance is equal to the standard deviation. And the standard deviation raised to the second power is equal to the variance. They will give you a question on a test and it'll say the variance is equal to 2.5. What is the standard deviation? And then they'll give you the next question. The standard deviation is 6.8. What is the variance? That's the way they'll ask the question. So that is one of the, and of course all of these are standardized test questions. But I remember distinctly on 2 tests that I helped students on. This one was the Triple E, which is an educator that they give when you're fixing to be a teacher. And the other one is the GRE, which is going into grad school. I remember seeing the question on a sample test, and I just always tell students about it. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead, and I want you, because I want you to feel good about yourself, go ahead and take your calculators out. I'm going to give you about a minute, and I want you to do as many of those that you can. Okay, and I realize that some of y'all can do all of it, and again, I don't care. Okay, I want to know, I want to help the ones that can't do it. So go ahead and work them out. I know you can do at least the first one, and you can find the mode, which is not one, but oh, they had an Andy Griffith Marathon Labor Day. I recorded and watched it. I don't know why I recorded it. I got all the CDs and I got all the Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff. I don't know why I actually recorded it, but I'm an Andy Griffith fanatic. Good gracious, I-85's backed up. Oh, I forgot. The hurricanes are going to hit Greenville. I don't know what I was thinking. Hurricane Dorian has vanished.
What?
Yep. Reports are that Hurricane Dorian had information on the Clintons. You got information on the Clintons, you better make sure you got plenty of guns and plenty of security. Hang on, what's his name? He died in his own jail cell. Oh yeah, it was suicide. Yeah, and I'm a jet airplane pilot.
Mr. McClure, can you wait a second before you go over?
I'm Hubert. What?
Can you wait a second
No.
before you go over it?
No. I'm gonna wait till y'all get in the middle of your calculations and start talking. Go ahead. Go ahead. Take your time.
Here's what I saw yesterday. I was driving on the road, and there's a car inside a line that's silver.
That's not math. Y'all are talking. Y'all are talking. That's not math. While y'all are calculating, I'm going to go ahead and start calculating, and you can check your numbers. How about that? And we're going to talk about rounding, because usually when I go over this, somebody raises their hand about midway through and says, how do we know where to round? Well, just give me a minute. Now, 80% of your test is going to come from chapter 3. You with me? 40% of that test is going to be based on these things right here. So if you got those numbers right, you're already doing good on the test. Till you talk yourself out of it, of course. Okay? So, how do we get the mean? We add them all up. So when you add them all up, you're going to get that number, and 611 divided by 7 is 87.28. Now, what about rounding? Well, you will notice that whenever I do the spreadsheet, I always take it out to 3 or 4 digits. Okay? That's a good practice to get into, at least 3. Because most of your questions on test and homework wants you to round to the what? The 10th or the 100th. Write that down. So when do you round? Whenever you're fixing to type in your answer. So you need to keep all your work at least 4 or 5 digits. You with me? So when you're, how you do that? Well, you highlight top left corner, right click, go down to format cells, go to number, and take it to 4 digits. It's already at 4 because that one was. Okay, well, how do you do that on your calculator? You hit mode and you hit sig figs, I think. Let me go see if. Oh, yeah, I don't have it. Yeah, I do. Here we go. Pull up the handy dandy calculator. Oh, God. One day, Tri-County Tech, we'll get up with the times. 2050 maybe. So hit mode and go down to float. You want to keep it on float. If you want to carry it out to 9 digits, carry it out to 9 digits. If you want to carry it to 4, carry it to 4. But remember, floating is a good thing to keep it on, because if you start with 5 digits, it's going to keep that in its memory, and you're going to end with 5 digits. So if you want to be sure, put it on 4 or 5 and hit enter. Make sure it's always on degree mode also. Unless you're in trig, you need to keep it on degree mode. I just don't want to tell you that. So I'm going to keep mine on floating. Everybody with me? All right, so that's good there. So when you go back and type in, you should get 5 digits. If not, switch it to 5 and it'll give you 5 digits. Okay, what is the, okay, now let's go out here and I'm going to take out a couple of these, delete, and I'm going to spread this out a little bit and a little bit more. There we go. If n is odd, the median is the middle number. Everybody with me? If n is even, you got to take the 2 middle numbers, 2 middle, and divide by what? Add the 2 middle and divide by what? 2. You get the average of the 2 middle numbers. Add the 2 middles and divide by 2. Again, that is something that y'all should have known. You know, y'all should know that from a long time ago. No yawning in class. Had all weekend to sleep. All right. And in case you don't know, we don't have a mode. Okay, so do not put 0. Why? Because you'll always have some smart aleck teacher that's going to say, question mark, I don't see 0 in the data. Okay? Do not put the number 0, okay? What do you put? Nothing. Nada. There ain't there. Okay? There ain't none. Non-applicable. Does not exist. Write a word if you do not have a what? Mode. I guarantee you a smart aleck teacher will mark it wrong if you put 0. Even though they know what you're talking about. Okay, this is another one you should not get wrong. If you get the range wrong, you don't what? You don't tell anybody. I'm not going to even insult your intelligence, but 97 minus 75. Okay? Calculate the center, mid-range. 97 minus 75 divided by 2. I'm sorry. Add it. 97 plus 75 divided by 2. Okay, so all of those you've been getting for the last 4 or 5 years, some of you the last couple of years when you were in 120. And that's good, and that's great, but usually when you get right here, you'll go, and you stare at it. Okay? So, I'm going to write down the formula, but you need to read it. Because some of you, this is what y'all do. I write the formula, and y'all just write it down, and then you ask me, well, what goes where? Well, you got to read the formula, because I'm not going to answer it. All right? The standard deviation formula of the variance is equal to x, the summation of x minus x bar, quantity squared, divided by n minus 1. Yeah, just call me anytime. That's fine. How was breakfast? Was it good?
No.
Well, listen, if you're going to be late, you might as well go eat. I'm just kidding. All right. Now that I'm in broken concentration, Thanks a lot. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, x minus x bar. So you got to read it. What is x? X is each one of these numbers. What is x bar? X bar is your mean. So let's go up here and write what the mean is called. No, I don't want to do that. X bar, mean, average, all of those are called, and sometimes mu. If it's the population mean, it's mu. If it's the sample mean, it's x bar. So all of those things have to do with x bar. All right, so we're going to subtract the mean from each one of the x's, and then we're going to square that number, and then we're going to add it up. That's what all that says. The summation, you add it all up, of x minus x bar. I'm going to take the mean away from each one of my x's, and I'm going to square that number, and I'm going to add them all up. That's what it is. So go over here, and I'm going to name this column x minus x bar. Now, this is what you would do if you were doing it not with a calculator, not with an Excel spreadsheet, but by hand. So you need to put in your notes, column right beside x. You're going to name it x minus x bar. And you're going to subtract the mean from each one of those numbers. So 75 minus the mean. Now, if you are an Excel user, you want to lock that mean, because if you copy down, it's going to copy all these numbers, and it ain't going to work. So I'm going to hit F4. Now, F4 should work on your Google, whatever it's called. Okay, that means it locks it. How do you know? Well, if it works right, when you copy down, it shouldn't give you any errors or funky numbers there. So I want you, with your calculator, to do the first number, the middle number, and the last number, so you'll know what you did when if you suck at this, okay? So do the first number, the 75, the 90, and the 97 in your notebook, so you'll know what you did, okay? X minus x bar. You don't have to write down what you did, because it's at the top of the column, x minus x bar. If you want to write x minus mean, go ahead. Mean, moi. Mean. There we go. Yeah, so tell your mama that's why he's not at school today.
What?
He's drunk.
Okay. What's his name?
Walt, yeah. Between my mother and my son, I can't keep them sober. Sense of humor, people, that's what it's called.
He said he was, she said he was funny.
He tries to be. No, I'm just kidding. He can be funny. Oh my gosh. I had to show you the video he did when he was about 6, 7 years old. My daughter she loves to get these heads, like a unicorn head and a horse head. Well, he got that unicorn head one day, and he made this video when he got his cell phone. He made a video of himself dancing with this, and me and my daughter have kept that video live on Facebook, and every year it shows up on you, and we post it all over the place. It's so funny. Anyway, he's never. So when he graduates, West Side. He's gonna that video somehow we're gonna put it in the program or whatever, where you put a whole page to the video. We're gonna somehow get that video in the book somehow. It's hilarious. Okay, I'll shut up. Now what? Well, what do we do with x minus x bar? What do we do with it? We square it. So I'm gonna animate, because that way y'all can learn more. I'm gonna highlight this right here. And I'm going to go to the handy dandy highlighter on here. I wish that would go away. No, I don't want to clear the screen. Why does it keep doing that? I'm not hitting the eraser. Damn Russians. Okay, there's my x minus x bar, and look at there, okay? So I just did x minus x bar. Now I'm going to do, and I'm going to call it x bar on this one so it doesn't matter which one you use, x minus x bar, and I'm going to raise it to the what? Second power. So I'm going to color this, let's see, dang old magenta. I like magenta. And we're going to, I do this. Y'all are so blessed. I do this, go out of my way for y'all. I need a chalkboard is what I need. Oh no, we don't have a magenta. I'm going to go have to make one. Well, that's close enough. No, that's really pink, but we're okay with that. So I'm going to highlight this whole area, pink or magenta. So now I'm going to square it. Now, I don't know why it went to 9 digits. I guess because I must have hit 9. Oh, I did. That's it. So we need to go back and change that. So highlight. Format cells, number. I don't know why I had it on. I don't know why that went to 9. There we go. Everybody with me? Now, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to take, and I got to pick another color. Let's go with that bright verde. And now we're going to do what? We're going to add it all up. And I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter. And I'm going to highlight that there. And we're going to add them all up. So your numerator is 415.4286. So you need to go over to your formula and you need to say, okay, the numerator is 415.4286. Now I'll have to use my calculator to calculate the denominator. Let's say 7 minus 1. Somebody calculate that for me. Equals, thank you, you're so smart. Variance equals, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put my numerator right there. Ooh, I don't like that. Let me move that over to the left. There we go. And I'm going to divide by what? 6. You'd be surprised on how many people ask me, how did you get 6? People, you need to read the what? Formula. Read the formula. It's kind of like handouts. Y'all know them things I gave y'all at the beginning of the semester? Oh my gosh, I got to tell y'all a story. Hold on. Pause. All right. Now that we've made fun of somebody. Anybody got any questions? All right. So here we go. Variance equals this number divided by what? 6. And see if y'all got it right. 69.2381. And you feel good about yourself. Now, what did you forget? Read the what? Read the formula. And what's the relationship between the variance and standard deviation? Square root, or raise it to the 1/2 power. So the only thing you do to get the standard deviation is take the variance and raise it to the 0.5 power. Make a note for those that's never had calculus or never had algebra. The 1/2 power or the 0.5 power is the same thing as the square root. When you get to calculus, you change everything to an exponent. So that's why I do the 0.5 power, because I don't want to have to try to find that radical and and it won't do that. You have to type in what? SQRT. I think that's it. Let's check. SD is equals SQRT of this number. Oh, you have to put parentheses, don't you? Parentheses, that number, close parentheses. So on your Google thing, you might want to try SQRT if you don't want to raise it to the 0.5 power. I'm going to erase that because I don't need it. Question. Now let's go through and highlight some things that are important. We're going to highlight the mean, which is very, very, very important. So we're going to color that hunter green. I like hunter green, so we're going to use a hunter green. Lord, I can't even, gotta go find it. Yeah, we use a hunter green. That's kind of a hunter green right there. Can't even see it now. Oh. There, is that better? Okay. What else is important? Well, the standard deviation is important. So we're going to color that green. There we go. There is your two most important numbers. What else is important? Well, I told you. The median, we already got it highlighted, but I'm going to highlight it a different color so you'll know it's important. Let's go to another color. Let's go, I'll find another color. I wish that thing would quit asking me to do that. This thing's messed up. Let's go to, a light blue. There we go. That's important. And the mid-range is important. Now, all of those, except for the standard deviation, have to do with what? The middle. Right now, it's out of Wampus just a little bit, because what's the difference between 90 and 86 and 90 and 87? 3 or 4, right? So there's a number in there that's kind of messing up things. Anybody pick out what number it is? 75. Now, what have you just done? You've just interpreted, okay? If you're being presented these numbers and somebody goes, okay, you got a mean of 87 and a median of 90 and a mid-range of 86, you, the one that's being presented this information, will say to yourself, okay, there's a number in there that's not right. So let's change that number. I mean, you don't have to write it down. I'm going to change it to 79. Okay, and you see the mid-range is starting to creep up on the what? The median and the what? The mean. You see there? Okay. Why is the median so, well, the median is not calculated. The median is just what's there. So out of all three of those, the median is not calculated, especially when n is equal to 7. So the median will be probably the most inaccurate number based on the calculations of all the numbers, or some of the numbers. All right? Well, what if you throw something in there crazy? Like, let's say you come in hungover and you made a 25. Then look what happens to the numbers. So what do those three numbers tell you? They tell you if your data is valid, if your data is tight, if your data is close together, if there's nothing out, as an outlier, okay, or something unusual. So whenever you throw these numbers in there, let's say it's 80, and then let's say you made 100 here, and you made a 50 here. Let's change that to 50. Again, your three numbers tell you, okay, something's not right. Now, can you do anything about that 50? No, you can't do anything about that 50. But are you looking at this from a calculator standpoint, or are you looking at it from being presented material? You're looking at it as someone in a meeting presenting the material to you, and you go, wow, that's a 6-point difference, and that's a 15-point difference. Some of his numbers are not valid. Some of his numbers are not close together. That's what you should be getting from this, okay? Not how to calculate it. I mean, most of y'all can do the calculations, but what does the numbers tell you? The numbers tell you if something is out of wampus, okay? Now, what do you do with this stuff? Well, here's what you do with it, and it's called a standard curve, and I'm trying to figure out where to put it. I'm going to put it right down here. In the middle of the standard curve is your mean. I need to write that down. So I'm going to go up here, get my mean, and I'm going to put it in the middle. You always set up your standard curve with the mean in the middle. I'm going to color that the 100 green. Now this is where the standard deviation is so important. So I want you to draw a curve, and I'll draw it in a minute. And the mean is in the middle. And to the right, you add the standard deviation. So 84.1429 plus the standard deviation. And the next one, you do the next one also. Well, I'm gonna lock that. F4, there we go. And then I'm gonna move it to the right. There we go. And then what do you do? If the right you add, what do you do to the left? You subtract. Equals this number minus the standard deviation, F4. And then I'm going to move that over to the... Now, what did I tell you last week as far as the normal curve? What do you want? Do you want a skewed left? Do you want skewed right or a normal? You want a normal. So you're going to... This is hypothetically what you want. Now, I want everybody to look in your book, if you have a book, or you have some representation of the book, and I want you to find the empirical rule. Empirical rule. I think it's EMPIRICAL. Somebody look for it in your book. Y'all got books, haven't you? No, I told y'all not to buy one, didn't I? Look for it. It should have a normal curve, and it should have percentages. It is very, 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 very important for you to pass this class. Okay? So those of you that's not paying attention, at least write that down. Okay? Empirical rule. Somebody give me the page number.
132.
Does it have percentages on each side, shaded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It'll look something like this. Mean will be in the middle. One standard deviation to the right, two standard deviations to the right. Some books take it to 3 standard deviations, and that's fine, but I'm limited with room right here, so I just did 2. Okay, you need to know the percentages. Oh yeah, what number did you say? So everybody write down page 132, empirical rule, so you'll know that you have to memorize it. Because if you don't memorize it, you're going to fail the first test and the third test. And if you don't know it by the third test and you ask me how'd you get that percentage, I'm going to keep on going because you should have already remembered the empirical rule. The empirical rule says that this 34% here, 34% here, 13.5% here, 13.5% here, and I get this mixed up sometimes. I think this is 2.35, but you can check me.
That's right.
And 2.35. The reason I get it mixed up, some books just say 2.5. Okay, some books do 2.2. So I didn't know what book this book is. So, and this is 0.15, and this is 0.15. Now, 90 5% will fall between two standard deviations. 95%, and it should say this on page 132. And that's called normal. When my daughter was like learning how to talk, she would say normal. So for the last 20-something years, that's what I put. Normal. 95% is normal. So 5% is not normal. Write that down. 5% is not normal. Now that 5% is going to be written as 0.05 or 5%. Remember that number because you're going to see that in your homework and your test. Write it down. 0.5%, 0.05 or 5%. So what's outside of 5%? Well, outside of normal is not normal, or what we call unusual. Outside of two standard deviations is not normal or unusual. What's outside of three standard deviations? Well, that's your 6-foot third graders, your Michael Jordans, your Tiger Woods, your Jack Nicklauses, your Peyton Mannings, okay? The people that, just defy, okay? Name somebody, I don't know. No, don't name anybody because you don't know.
Jake Miller.
Who? Who?
South Carolina's quarterback.
Where did they find him? Is he in the wino in the box somewhere?
Dan's on the coaching staff.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that's 13. Well, I get
13.5. I'm sorry. 13.5. And here is your outlier over here. So outside of three standard deviations is your, and I always pick Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning, the old school Joe Montana, Johnny Unitas, Joe Namath, the people that just what? They just goats, okay? They're the greatest of all time. Or you're a 6-foot third grader. Or you're a person that scores, what's the highest you can score on ACT? I'm sorry, what? 16? Okay, they score 25. Okay? Okay, or your SAT score that scored 2100 on an 1800 SAT. That's the people that, in second grade, they're talking 5 languages. Okay? If you speak more than 5 languages, if you speak more than 2 languages, you're pretty smart. If you speak more than 3 languages, you're dang smart. Oh yeah, our first lady, she speaks 5, but she's considered stupid. All right. I think she just speaks 6, but she's considered stupid. Anyway. What? What'd he say? Who? She is? He is? I tell you what, name me a millionaire that's stupid.
I just said she's smarter than her husband. I never said he was dumb.
Oh, you didn't say he was dumb. You just said he was stupid.
I said she's smarter than her husband.
Probably. She's very smart. But I've never seen a millionaire that was stupid. Huh?
I never called her dumb.
Okay. Any questions? I challenge anybody to name me a millionaire that's stupid.
There's plenty of them.
Okay, name one.
Oh, dude, there's probably.
Name one.
There are. Alan Crabb. He plays on the Portland Trailblazers.
I didn't say. Whoa.
There's no way.
I didn't say a celebrity or sports star. I said name me a millionaire, businessman, millionaire that's stupid.
You said millionaire. You did not say.
Okay, name me a billionaire. Name me a millionaire businessman that's stupid.
If they inherited their money, they'd be stupid.
I said businessman.
They can still be businessmen.
I'm waiting.
Donald Trump.
Name one. No, you didn't. That's your opinion. Name me a millionaire besides, okay, since you hate Donald Trump, name me a millionaire in the business world that is stupid.
Joe Biden.
I'll agree with you there. I don't even know if he knows what day it is. No, he's not a businessman. He's a professional politician, so that don't count. I'm still waiting for a businessman. Name me a businessman. How about Mark Zuckerberg? Oh no, he's great. He walks on water. Name me another businessman that is stupid. You can't. Why? Tell me why you can't name one. Because you don't make money if you're stupid. Okay? You don't. Why? Because what do you have to have? You have to have intelligence to know how to work the system. You need to be able to know when to invest and when not to invest. Mark Zuckerberg is very intelligent. He knows how to work people, and he knows how to make money. Okay? Who's another one? Bill Gates. Bill Gates I think Bill Gates could see into the future. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I know you can't see into the future. But he is the epitome of a businessman because he took something that was not there, and what did he do? He made it happen. Steve Jobs was another one. Okay? So I don't see too many, what do you call them, Patrick Starfishes that are on Forbes, millionaires list. I don't see too many of them. Okay? Or if you speak 5 languages. Name me somebody that speaks 5 languages is stupid. Think about it. How many languages do y'all speak? How many languages can anybody in here speak? Just name 2, 3. It takes a lot. I can do well to speak what? 1 language. Can you imagine speaking 5 languages? All right. Who's got a question on this?
Did you say that the unusual was the 2.35% and the 1.
Anything outside of it, but the third standard deviation is outliers. Okay, that's just people that are just out there. I mean, they're out there. Either it can be bad or it could be very good. I mean, Patrick Starfish would be an outlier because he's incredibly stupid. Okay. Any other questions? Now, make sure you can do all this. This is like number 1. This is number 1. Most of you should be able to do all. Now, we're going to do the 5-number summary, and we're going to do what? We're going to do a box plot, and we're going to do the frequency distribution, but we're going to get to that later. I want to make sure everybody can do this. Now, tomorrow, or when you come back, we're going to do it with more numbers. I'm going to take you up to about 10. This was 7. We're going to do 8, 9, and 10, so that way everybody can get a feel on how to do it. Okay? Capiche? That's the dang old alarm. Sorry. Telling me dang old class is over.
Gmail.